Longer in the sector, and energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleimana is forecasting shortage in oil supply should the war declared by Israel on Gaza continue. According to him, this would impact the price of crude oil. However, he emphasized that the current jump in oil prices is speculative because of uncertainties ahead.
Center of this, of course, is the hub of Middle East, and Middle East is the hub of global energy. Global oil production, and as long as hydrocarbon, or what we call fossil fuel, continue to be the energy of choice, continue to contribute closer to 70 to 80% of global energy supply or energy security, any impact on the supply chain of this commodity will have dire consequences. And if I take you back into history, that's number one. Number two, there is a historical precedent or antecedents of this kind of conflict, or this particular conflict, though in a smaller dimension. If you notice, the 1970s market crash, and one of the major issues that propelled or that catalyzed the crash of the market in the 1970s was the oil embargo. And what was the reason for the oil embargo? It was because of also Israel and Arab war. Though this is Israel and Hamas, but Israel and Arab war, then what the Arabians did, because they were the seat for OPEC, they came together and then they quickly put embargo. We don't expect that to happen, like I said, because dynamics have changed. But let's say miscalculations could be there. So everybody, or pundits, or people, or oil market activists, or oil market watchers who knew about this history will always be sitting on tenterhooks. And the reason being that if there is any miscalculation on each of the parties' side, and it actually escalates into a regional conflict, and there is a cut in supply into the global basket, either inadvertently or planned, like what happened in the oil embargo in the 1970s, undoubtedly there will be market crash. What will happen is that with huge supply drop, they're going to be shortage. And what is happening is just an example. What is happening actually is just a speculative jump. It's not actually the fundamental that are kicking in. But if this war prolonged for elongated period of time, the fundamental will actually kick in. And once the supply is dwindled, or is cut, or is restricted, the ramifications are dire. We'll have supply shortage, and you can imagine where oil price will.
Away from the energy front, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahine has called for the reinstatement and an amendment of the Fiscal Responsibility Act to control borrowing. This comes after concerns of fiscal discipline and successive governments' inability to control borrowing. Dr. Etuahine has been speaking at the 12th edition of the Ghana Economic Forum organized by the Business and Financial Times.
The 12th Ghana Economic Forum, organized by the Business and Financial Times, is a gathering of policymakers, thought leaders, academia and industry to deliberate on Ghana's macroeconomic challenges and proffer solutions. The 2023 edition is aimed at bringing out collaborative and innovative solutions in the face of global challenges. Speaking at the forum, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahine called for the placement of a cap on borrowing to ensure fiscal discipline.
Constitution does not put a brake on borrowing. And when we borrow, we can borrow and borrow and borrow. The debt GDP ratio is 107%. Which country? Which country? I think the whole Africa, we are the highest. I'm agitating that the parliament or whoever is in charge begin to think about putting a debt cap or debt limit like the Americans, so that when you get to a certain 50% of the GDP, you have to go and amend the constitution before you can spend. If the cap was in the constitution, they cannot suspend the fiscal responsibility, because you need to go into the constitution, amend it before you could have done what you did. But because it's a law passed with majority, they can easily get over it.
Dr. Etuahine further called for an increment in the royalties paid by foreign mineral mining firms to boost domestic revenue.
One minister said that Ghana generated 6.6 billion, twice the IMF money. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go onto the BOP, we only got 816 million, equivalents of 13%. What sort of country is this? Everybody keep Ghana is investor-friendly country because we allow ourselves to be taken out by events. If you get 30% of the goal that the minister said,
it would have given us nearly $2 billion. What happened to it? We signed a whole lot of agreement as if tomorrow is not going to come.
The president of the Association of Ghana Industries, Humphrey Ayim Dake, called for government to address the harsh macroeconomic environment.
The contraction sectors, construction, negative 11.7, wholesale and retail, and I can go electricity. When electricity consumption goes into negative contraction, it suggests that productivity is low. So if Abna has money and entrepreneurs as gathered here are seeking to go look for it, the investor who is looking for equity will look for your growth poles and growth trajectory. Right. So if policy, seeing this anomaly, is not seeking to align and do targeting, selective, and aid in the growth direction, how do we go for that money?
The 12th Ghana Economic Forum, which was organized by the Business and Financial Times, was held on the theme, Building Back Better, IMF Support, Strategies to Build a Sustainable Economy and Dynamic Business Environment.
More within the space, and the Ministry of Finance, as we do know, has not been able to engage leadership of aggrieved customers of Gold Coast Fund Management over the payment of their locked-up funds. Aggrieved customers of Gold Coast Fund earlier today picketed the Ministry of Finance, demanding the immediate disbursement of their funds, else will spend the next 48 hours at the premises. There is more in this report. Numbering about 100, the aggrieved customers of Gold Coast Fund Management picketed the Ministry of Finance, demanding the immediate disbursements of their locked-up funds. They say all attempts to get the Ministry of Finance begin payment of their locked-up funds have proven futile. The group accused the Minister of Finance for failing to authorize the disbursement of their monies despite parliamentary approval for the funds to be given to all customers whose investments were impacted as a result of the financial sector cleanup. Charles Name is the convener for the group.
Our approved 8.6 billion that's supposed to pay fund management customers in full has been calculated as part of the 26 billion that has been spent. Meanwhile, this money did not reach us. That's why we are here today to demand our immediate payment from the Finance Ministry, since they claim that those monies have been spent. They have to give us the money right here, because they have created bank accounts for all these customers standing here across the various branches of the commercial banks, and therefore we expect them to advance money to the commercial banks for them to credit our accounts within these 48 hours that we are going to tarry here.
However, expressed hope that after their 48 hours picketing, the Ministry of Finance will address their concerns.
We are hopeful because we don't expect the government and the Finance Ministry to be so insensitive as to the point as we have exposed them for their greediness of spending our monies without reaching us. Look at the ages of these people standing right here. They are above 60, 70, 80. And if the government will be so sensitive enough to watch on for these people to tarry within the weather, scorched by the sun, and stand in the dew for the 48 hours, it would deepen their insensitiveness to the whole world.
Meanwhile, as of the time of filing this report, the Ministry of Finance was set to meet leadership of the group. You're still watching Business Live here on the Joy News channel with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Breather after this break. Hello, welcome back. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority says it is far advanced with policies to regulate self-drive cars that are likely to be in the country. This is in response to ongoing innovation in the global automotive space. Speaking to Joy Business after opening the first International Driver and Vehicle Innovations Conference in Accra, Deputy Chief Executive for the DVLA, Prince Opoku Eduse, hinted that the authority has already registered some 300 electric vehicles and are far advanced with the policy to take care of other innovative cars, including the self-drive vehicles.
National Driver and Vehicle Innovations Conference under the theme Future of Road Transport is aimed at assembling the best ideas on digital innovations and explore the use of modern technology for transport regulation. According to the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, Ghana is on course with regulations to ensure that it meets the kind of revolution in transportation. Deputy Chief Executive of the DVLA, Prince Opoku Edusei, tells Joy Business that about 300 electric vehicles are already registered in the country.
As a matter of fact, that is the very reason why we are having this conference. At the last check, we had registered over 300 electric cars already in Ghana. Yes, and we have a few charging stations also in Ghana. And so we are moving with the times. And we don't want to be, as I said earlier, be overtaken by events. And that is why we are having this conference, to learn from what is happening around the globe and see how we can prepare ourselves to receive such developments.
Minister of Transport, Kweku Ofori-Siama, assured that ongoing developments in the sector will improve safety on the road. He further disclosed plans to launch the electric vehicle policy in the country soon.
The Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, the Ministry of Transport, and the Ministry of Finance with support from Public Sector Reform for Resort Project is spearheading the development of national policy to guide the uptake of electric vehicles in our country. The policy is intended to achieve, among others, the following critical outcomes: promotion of sustainable transport, energy security and economic benefit, improve urban air quality and public health. In developing the policy, we are mindful of the need for transition that is just and fair. We are also mindful of the need to ensure inclusivity, affordability, safety and fairness in the provision of incentives. These are the cardinal points of electric vehicle policy, which I believe will give major boost to our effort to decarbonize the transport industry.
The event was organized by the DVLA with support from stakeholders and the ECOWAS Commission.
And to some other stories, Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafwewa, has urged cooperative unions in Ghana to modernize the operations in order to stay relevant. According to the minister, the importance of the cooperative credit unions to national development cannot be overemphasized, hence the need to adapt the operations to modern trends. The minister was speaking at the 101st International Cooperative Day celebration in Accra.
In the past, especially in our rural communities, anywhere you went, any huge building you saw belonged to the cooperative. And even in Accra here, you move to Adabraka, most of the mighty buildings in Adabraka today that you see were put up, used either by cooperative or using the resources of cooperative bodies. But what do we see today? If in the past, our forefathers, our forebears saw the need to have unity even in business, why is it that we can't do the same today? That is why, personally, I have always urged the Registrar of Cooperative to find a way to modernize the way you do business at the department so that it will become easy, one, for associations to be formed and also for them to be able to operate. If there is a method to development that we may have lost and which we need to go back to, then I strongly believe that that method is cooperative.
Speaking at the same event, the national chairman of the Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association, Dr. B.B. Bingham, also called on the government to prioritize cooperative systems in its quest to improve food security, bridge the inequality gap, and reduce poverty.
We keep saying that we want to have food sustainability, and yet the attention we pay to the agri sector remains something you and I cannot talk about. We say that we are interested in the deprived, yet the cooperatives, which is a model tackling the very vulnerable people, we are not included. I asked yesterday what happened to the cooperative during the planting for food and job. During the Operation Feed Yourselves, you can ask those who were elderly. Cooperatives played a key role. So what has happened today? We'd like to take this opportunity to re-echo our words to the government that indeed, if poverty reduction and indeed, if food security is anything to go by, the cooperative model is the only way out. And we crave the government of the day and even other governments that will come in the future to pay attention to the cooperatives.
Some foreign trade groups have called for trade partnerships to boost the capacity of SMEs to stay competitive. According to them, building networks will afford SMEs the opportunities to learn from foreign brands and forge strategic partnerships to boost exports. They have been speaking at the Jameson Building Bridges to Africa conference organized by the Jameson Strategic Consulting Group.
The Jameson Building Bridges to Africa Conference is a platform created by the Jameson Strategic Consulting Group to promote international trade and sustainable economic growth. It achieves this by connecting small and medium businesses through strategic trade exchanges and collaborative market expansion programs. Speaking to Joy Business, the founder and principal of Jameson Strategic Consulting LLC, Lady Jill Joanna J. Coleman, called for partnership to boost the SME sector.
My firm, Jamerson Strategic Consulting, we are an SME, and so when we started this conference off, we wanted to not go after major corporations. We wanted to speak to those who are small and medium-sized enterprises to say we understand the work that you do, we understand the challenges that you have, and with that, let us take what we've learned, you take what you've learned, and then let's pull it together. Many times, small, medium-sized enterprises never have an opportunity for a conference like this. Sometimes the registration is too much. Sometimes there's just not an opportunity for it. So we intentionally created this opportunity for the MSME.
CEO of Synergy Global Holdings, Mike Kobler, rehashed the need to build the capacity of SMEs to stay competitive.
The world has become a very small global village, and because of the ACTA, it's important for SMEs to build their capacity to be able to interact with global businesses. So we found this as a good opportunity for the SME sector to network and engage with American companies who have like minds and similar businesses that they are doing to help them explore new markets. The idea is that we cannot continue to remain small. Our problems as a country has been FX related. So the more exports that we are able to do, the more we are able to solve that part of the puzzles.
The country manager for Jameson Ghana, Paul Labi Amwa, had this to say.
Our main objective is to bring American businessmen and women, including their educational sector, to partner, network, and explore business opportunities beyond exchanging mere business cards, so that in the near future we can be proud to have Ghanaian businesses, either small to medium enterprises or in the big private sector, to establish connections with our American delegation.
The trade conference, held on the theme Building Bridges to Africa, was held in partnership with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, American Chamber of Commerce Ghana, Synergy Capital, and the Otumfuo Setitu II Foundation.
And that's it for Business Live for today. I am Pius Kujubaka. For more stories, do log on to myjoyonline.com/business for all the business stories you need to know in Ghana and beyond. Always a pleasure serving you. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.